um, because it is kind of it takes some practice, and it sometimes everybody's research project is a little bit different. As you get through the process, your question may have changed a little bit, or you might need additional resources. There just are so many reasons why you might want to come back and ask me more questions, and I always welcome that. So don't feel, if you go away and you wake up tomorrow morning and you go, oh, I should have asked this, just send me an email.
Okay, thank you very much, Marjorie. Thank you.
You're welcome. So UBC has a wealth of resources, and we're going to look at several different ones of them. I strongly suggest to students that they actually keep, I call it a research logbook, but really it is just a list of where you've looked and what words you've used as your search terms.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the reason is we start with a single set of search terms, but hopefully we're learning as we go, and we may adjust the search terms, because again, we don't know when we start out what the perfect search terms are going to be. So by the time we get into the third or fourth resource that we're looking at, we may have words that are very different from the first one, and we may want to go back to the first one and try some of these new words in the first one. So by sort of listing where we're looking and the search terms we're using, and just keeping that list, and nobody needs to see this. This is not a list that you'll show me, or you'll show Carlos, or you'll show anyone. It is simply for you. I just know that, as I say, by the time I hit the second, third, or fourth, or goodness knows, I start to get confused. Did I search that in the first one or not? And maybe once you find and you'll probably have several sets that bring back what you were looking for, that are the best descriptors. But there's no other way than trial and error, and in looking at your results and looking at, there's a few things I'm going to show you to look at to be, so each database uses a different set of, we call it a controlled vocabulary. I mean, because there are goodness knows how many words in the English language, and so they will pick words that capture several ideas all at once. So they might use, trying to think of one. So there, first of all, there are different geographic levels. So there's kind of the Canada geographic level, and then our next level below is what we call the provincial level, which are large geographic, many cities in that area. Then there are, within the province, there are municipalities or counties. Mm-hmm. They go by both names. And then there are cities, towns, and villages under that. Okay. So multiple levels. And sometimes you will find something in one level but not in the other level. So you might find things about Canada at the city level in Toronto or Vancouver, but you might not find them at the Canada level, and vice versa. So there is this value in going more broadly, going to the larger geographic regions, and then going smaller to the city or municipal levels. Learning a little bit about the political areas of responsibility. So in Canada, the federal level, the highest level, our prime ministerial level, is responsible for air transportation and air safety. Makes sense. But healthcare and hospitals are at the provincial level. And then things like housing and local roads and sewers and garbage collection and those kinds of things are at the city level. So if I look for transportation at the federal level, the only transportation issues I'm going to really find are air transportation. They're not going to talk about roads. So figuring out who's responsible for which, and particularly if you're looking at immigrant housing, who is responsible for housing in what geographic area? And so that's going to be something that and on it, quite honestly, sometimes this is where Wikipedia comes in very, very handy. Very rarely do I recommend it as a research resource, except that it is good for this kind of what I call general background information, where these types of things are important to know, and they're different in every different country of the world, and even within a single country, there are differences. So if you're looking someplace and you're not finding something, so if you were looking for air travel at the provincial level and you're not finding something, that's when you pause and go, oh, wait, is it covered at this level or is it someplace else? And again, that is particularly a useful thing when you're beginning to think about housing and resettlement and immigration, because immigration is both a federal and a provincial responsibility. Housing is primarily a provincial responsibility, but there are some times when it is a city responsibility. These things are not, they don't have clearly defined hard boundaries. There's more often and less often. So, and I say all of this because these are some of the challenges in trying to find the information and resources. So I will now start to share my screen and show you. This is the Okanagan Library. So in the URL, it's library.ok.ubc.ca, where and the big UBC library page looks very much the same. There are, so the databases are the same from both places. Even the help guides are the same from both places, but how you get to them varies, is a little different from one to the other. Again, I work at UBC Okanagan, and so I'm most familiar with our webpage, having helped build it. But sometimes people don't know this and they get confused. They go, oh, I want to use UBC Library. They Google UBC Library. They come to a page that looks almost the same, but a little different. And they don't know. So again, I'm assuming you know, you don't have the same level of knowledge as I do, because I've worked here for a long time, and now there are so many things I tend to take for granted that I try to put myself in a beginner mind.
Okay.
So, and it doesn't matter. You will ultimately get to the same results whether you use the Okanagan Library or the Vancouver big UBC Library. It's just your confidence level in where to go next that is the important thing.
Okay, great, excellent.
So right from here, we could jump in and start searching, but there are some useful things kind of below. So if you ever need to contact me, or if you're doing something, I don't know, and need another librarian to help you, which could be possible if you were looking at something that was a management topic, or for some reason got into the engineering of housing, like this just will give you the list of librarians. If you're, and you should, so these are citation style guides. They provide you with resources how to create citations out of your sources. But better than that, are you using a citation management software like Zotero or Mendeley or anything like that so far?
Yes, I'm more familiar with EndNote. Yeah.
Perfect. Whatever you have, just use it regularly and stick with it. But here at UBC, we currently have RefWorks, but we might be moving away from it. So I'm just, as long as you have one and use it regularly, that's the key thing. But if you ever have to create a few citations by hand and need to refer to one of the style guides, we have the guides all there.
Excellent.
More importantly are these research guides, and we're actually going to go, well, let's go down one more. Are you going to be coming to Canada to study at some point in Kelowna or in Canada?
Yes, in September I am landing.
Yay! And so the reason I asked that is these library loans and collections, these are for our physical books. And also if there was something that you needed that UBC did not have, we have a very strong system where we can borrow books from other libraries that do have them. And again, because no one library has everything, we tend to cooperate with each other and send materials back and forth. So you can request items from other libraries. We call that an interlibrary loan, and you'll find information about that under this library loans and collections. But back up to the research guides.
Great.
So we've got subject guides, course guides, all guides, guides by type. If we go into geography, you'll see that there are 9 guides there. Click on, by just clicking on the title, it
Okay.
unpacked them. So there's BC maps and geospatial data. You probably won't, well, I don't know. You may or may not need some assistance with that, but that's where to go for that information. But under geography, so I've just clicked, and I really like this one because it has the breadcrumb trail here at the top. So you can see I came from the library home to the research guides, subject guides, and geography. And now we are here at geography.
Great.
And so it is dividing out physical geography from human geography. And so GeoBase is the primary human geography database. And it is one that you absolutely must be searching in, or else Carlos will think you haven't done your work. And you come in here, and the green button, connect to the resource, is where you click. And then it will ask for your CWL authentication. And so even though this says Engineering Village, that's just the company's name for the database. Okay. What is more important is to come down here and make sure that GeoBase is selected.
Okay.
there's GeoBase and GeoRef, and the only way I can keep them straight is to remember that GeoRef, which has an R in it, is looking at rocks, and GeoBase, which has no R in it, looks at people.
Okay.
Whatever works. And then it gives you a series of searches that you can go through. We're going to start in with the quick search, but we will move to the, that's fine. We don't want all of those. We want, okay. Why is this? That's all good. Okay, search, quick search. Of course, they have changed this on me. Okay, so I guess the quick search is up here. But I really don't want, and I want, and so the asterisk beside Canada searches Canada, or wait, C-A-N-A-D, then asterisk. We'll search Canada, Canadian, Canadians, all of, it'll swap out the letters. And then, and housing, and again, the asterisk will look for immigration, immigrants. It will give you the variations on the endings.
Great. I see that the housing is in like in.
Yeah, I was going to put housing and immigrants together, but changed my mind. So
Okay.
But the quotation marks are very important if you are searching for an exact phrase, and we will possibly do that next. We'll see what this comes back with.
Okay.
And these really are trying to help you and teach you a little bit more about the database. I no longer use them, but feel free to slow down and read them when you're starting to use it yourself. So this is wonderful. This is 167 records at the graduate student level, because Carlos is expecting a very thorough and detailed literature search on your part. Anything up to 200 records, you should be able to manage and to be spending the time actually looking at them individually and making an individual decision. If you are an undergraduate writing an undergraduate paper, I would say, let's try and narrow this down so that you have between 50 and 100 results. Fewer than that, and you're sort of stuck using what comes up. More than that, and it's too many to manage. So with graduate students, about anywhere from 1 on up to 200, I say, is a successful search result. Then it is for you to apply your intellectual abilities and go, yes, this one is on my topic. No, this one isn't, and to be picking out. But to have to go through 200 resources is not a bad list. You actually get, so these show previews are hugely important. So I always go into the preview. Oh, this one isn't. Yeah. Detailed record. Oh yes, detailed record. So the detailed record gives you these controlled terms. Remember, I talked about a controlled vocabulary.
Yeah.
So these words are the words that they have picked out of this article that they have assigned to this article. So they say it's about adults and it's about home ownership, it's about the housing market, and it's about the rental sector. So if you were interested in new Canadian immigrants and rental housing, then you would be looking at the rental sector. If you were more interested in home ownership, you would know that home ownership is the word that similar articles are, and then you would literally take that word and put it into your search box. And so this is why tracking the words that you're using and adding to a new list, say try these new words because either you hadn't thought of them or you discovered a new word that is more appropriate. Yes.
Okay.
It just, again, because to know which words are being used is a challenge until you've run this search 5 or 10 times in a number of different places. So I always recommend looking for those controlled terms. Sometimes they're called controlled terms, sometimes they're called descriptors, sometimes they're called subject headings. There's a number of different names, but you will begin to recognize them just sort of because they are what the article is about. So regardless of whether they are called descriptors or subject headings, it's words that are used to describe the article.
Okay.
Then,
Great.
so if we go back to the results. So if you are interested in looking at this article, this yellow and blue UBC e-link is what will take you to the article from this database. So this database is a combination database. Some journals and journal articles it has the full text for, but not all of them. And so when it doesn't have the full text, it tries to see whether UBC has the full text somewhere else. And this UBC e-link is that bridging software to whether we have this or not. And so we do. It gives you the citation of what you're looking for, and then you have to scroll down a little bit, and it will either say full text available online, or this button will be missing, and it'll say still need help, and that's when you can request it via interlibrary loan.
Okay, great.
But this blue full text online button should take you directly to the article. We will see. Yay, it did.
Great.
Well, so if the article is in an open access journal, sometimes it just takes you to the journal, and then you have to go back to the original citation or back to this and go, oh yes, okay, now I want volume 35, issue 4, page, and look it up that way. This will usually give you good directions to it. Great. The other thing, though, is this DOI. So you can use a DOI resolver and this is the big official one. You just paste the DOI into there. And that will take you to the same article. It takes you directly to the article. And that's exactly, so a DOI is a digital object identifier, and it identifies the specific article.
Oh, great.
So if you're going along, the other thing I quite like, and I'm going to show you how to potentially find them. It is very good practice for, so master's theses and PhD dissertations have some of the best bibliographies or lists of references because the research is so thorough and it has been looked at by so many academics. So it is fully peer reviewed. But again, they have magnificent lists of references, and particularly if, and many people in human geography do use either Chicago style or APA style, which both include the DOI. So by looking at a thesis or dissertation, you can go to their reference list and see it. So we didn't start right back here.
Okay.
And again, just to show you, to have shown you the full way around this, go back here. And let's say you found this article in somebody's list of citations. You can copy the title of it.
Okay.
Come back to our library homepage, paste the title into this general search box. So this is a tool that we call summon. So if I say go and use summon, this is what I'm referring to.
Okay.
And you can do all kinds of things with summon. You can do keyword searches. You can search for a particular author. You can search for a specific title, all kinds of different things. But just to, again, so I'm going to close out this one, and I'm going to close out this one, and I'm going to close that one. And then I'm going to search for this. And here it is. And so down here it says you can download the PDF right now. I've been having troubles with that, but it may work perfectly for you. So I'm not saying don't use it, but I'm saying if you do use it and it doesn't work, just try one of the other ones.
Okay.
I tend to go to looking at the full text online, but also under more info, is where you're going to find, here's where they're called subject headings. These are the words that were used in this database for the article.
Okay, great.
This is the same one that we're looking at up here, and it uses quite different words. It uses home ownership and rental sector. So this one doesn't talk about rental at all. And that's why I say it's so important to look at the different ones because they organize them a little bit differently. And it can just truly, for most kinds of research at the PhD level, it is finding a few very good articles on your topic, and then you start building out from them through looking at their citation links. But these subject headings are just so very important.
Okay.
Close that up. So from Summon, which is this search engine, you can save the article to a folder. Actually, I'm going to. Do that. I want to do this. I thought I could. So anyway, I was doing some searching earlier. The first one's mine. The second one is yours.
Yeah.
But you can export it to EndNote.
Okay, great.
So that's very useful. It saves you a step. I don't use EndNote, so I don't have it on my computer, or I would show you. I've been using Zotero more recently, and RefWorks up till now. Or the other thing is to email it to yourself, but that just adds another step of then putting that into EndNote. So
Okay.
the fewer steps that you have to do, the better, but still making sure that you've got it. So
Okay.
that will put the citation in, and I'm not sure about EndNote. I know with Zotero, it will save the PDF copy if I have it, and RefWorks will actually link back to the original source. It will link back to this. We'll get there. It will actually directly link back to this page that has the article on it. So different ones of these do different things. It's been so long since I've used EndNote. I'm not sure. I can't remember whether you're actually storing the PDF in there or whether it will deep link into this.
Yeah, I can store a PDF if I want. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so much easier, having it from within that than, oh, did I put it in this folder on my computer or that folder? I don't know about you. I have too many folders.
It happens to me, yes, really often, but it's better in EndNote to have everything ordered. Yeah.
Yeah. Now back here, so that was GeoBase. Academic Search Premier is very similar. Have you used Web of Science in the past?
Yes, I used to.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So we have Web of Science. It's another very good one. So if I were to just to sort of recommend, I would say GeoBase, definitely. Web of Science, definitely. I would also, oh, interesting. Interesting. So let's go back here. UBC has deep linked its resources into Google Scholar. But the trick with that is coming to the library page, going to indexes and databases, and putting Google Scholar in there. Okay. If you just Google Scholar, it doesn't make this deep link. And why is the deep link important? We've spent so much money subscribing to all of these different journals and you should not be paying for any additional articles. If you're just Googling Google Scholar and you do your search, the default for Google Scholar then is to send you to the publisher's webpage where they want to sell you the individual article. So if you accidentally forgot and you ended up on a publisher's webpage where they say to gain access, pay $49.95 or $79.95, like they're very expensive. Stop and go, oh, wait a minute, I should check to see if the library has it. Come back and put the title into the general one. But to save that, just if you put Google Scholar in here, go search, and then access Google Scholar from here, this has made the link. This has told Google Scholar, oh, this is coming from a UBC person. We will check the UBC links first. And then when, so let's, so that's where I would use the quotation marks. I'm looking for immigrant housing, which is not a particularly good search term, but I wanted to just show you how that worked. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, they may have changed this. So also this summer we've gone to, let's just try this. Let's see what happens. So this summer we instituted a new system to authenticate us with our databases. And they said it was going to be smoother and easier, and it appears to be smoother and easier, which is lovely. But if you run into challenges, so it's a system called OpenAthens. So I think because I've been into the databases so many times today that it's put cookies in all over the place, and it keeps authenticating me, which is lovely. It makes my searching very fast,
Yeah.
but it doesn't allow me to show you what I'm wanting to show you, which is also okay. But if it says, so sometimes it will say OpenAthens, look for your institution, and you simply look for UBC and select UBC, and the machine will take care of the rest. Sometimes what it takes you to is the landing page where it says log in with your CWL. Sometimes it takes you directly to the article, but it really does make it much smoother. And clearly sometimes when you're doing this, it just takes you right to the article, which is wonderful. So just go with what works. Interesting. So you can Google Scholar settings. Set it to EndNote.
Okay, Google Scholar.
I'm going to show you how to, I'm going to set it to RefWorks just because that's the one that I use, and show you what it looks like. So, but you can set it to EndNote, and it will stay that way on your computer. So you only need to do that once. It's a very useful feature. Then when you find an article that you like, I will show you. So now it's import to RefWorks. It would say import to EndNote.
Okay. Yeah.
And so if that first one were perfect for you, one click and it's into EndNote for you.
Great. I have seen that there is an option BibTeX. What is the function of BibTeX?
It's similar to EndNote and RefWorks. I believe it actually, though, is the coded language so that you can put it into different kinds of citation management software. So it was just another setting.
Okay, great.
Yes, so if this were a good article, I would put it into my RefWorks. I often, though, so a few things. I look at how frequently things have been cited. So if something has been cited 41 times as opposed to 26 times, not even given the fact that this is one of Carlos's articles, I strongly suggest that you do an author search for him and gather up all of his articles if you haven't already done so. Do that. And then so once we have looked at his articles, the other thing is going down to his list of references and starting to see which journals he particularly prefers. And much of his, so the other thing is he is very statistically knowledgeable, and expects his students to also be using Statistics Canada, BC Statistics, all of these types of places to get accurate information on that. But so here, this Journal of Rural Studies, I know, is one that he's quite that he reads regularly. Urban Affairs Review. So I would kind of come and pick 2 or 3 of his articles and look at the journal titles and then see what has been written in those journals on this topic. And even if they're not specifically on your topic, they're providing you with a framework. And it's also very good just to know what he's studying. Yes. Highly recommended. So Urban Geography, Canadian Geographer, all of those. Journal of Housing and the Built Environment. So I know that these are some of his favorite journals, and they are good journals. They are where this type of information is published, and you should be aware of them and tracking them as well. Which reminds me, let's go back to Engineering Village. So, well, actually, let's start instead of even going to Engineering Village, let's start here. So you can create alerts. I don't know if you've ever used alerts, but they are very useful.
Yeah.
So to create an alert, you simply click on this, and it's going to take whatever your search term is up here.
Yes.
And it's going to send it to a particular email address. I'm going to make this one too. And you can set the number of results that you want to see. Update results. And then create the alert. And now, whenever an article shows up that has this, that matches that search criteria, it's going to come to your email box.
Wow, great.
Excellent. Yeah. And so it keeps you very current, and is very good, particularly at the beginning of your studies. So I probably have, I don't know, I have 2 or 3 very active research areas that I'm pursuing. And I probably have 6 alerts set up with different combinations of my search terms, so that I'm making sure that I'm getting all the things that I want to get. So I don't know. I mean, there probably is some type of limit on how many alerts you have, but I haven't run into it. I wouldn't set up so many just to have, because you will start to find some overlap, I think. And then that'll just mean extra work for you to be sorting through them. Again, not too much work. Okay. But yes, it's just do this for a good search string. So try out several search strings and go, oh, this one was really good, and that's the one you set up an alert for.
Okay, I will. That's awesome.
It is super helpful. It is, and particularly graduate students. How would you have learned this before? You needed somebody like a librarian to teach that to you, because it's a beautiful shortcut.
Yes, it is. It's beautiful.
Now, these are other databases that you might want to go in and have a look at. Now, part of so many different databases, because there are so many different journals, and so there may be some overlap, but there's less overlap than you might think. Okay. Now, because you are studying in the Canadian context, let's go back here. There's a database that you would never think to look at yourself, and I'm going to have you write this one down. It's called Des Libris.
Des Libris.
And what it is Canadian public policy documents. Oh. but it is the gray literature. So it is think tanks, and it is not-for-profit organizations, and it is some non-governmental organizations. So it has things that are not anywhere else. So just putting in immigrant housing. And under the advanced search, it's quite nice if you need to limit by the years, or it has lots and lots of limiters. But this is a pretty, so yes, neighborhood patterns and housing choices of immigrants, and the housing and health of recent immigrants to Canada, and where settlement lives, and so on and so forth. And it is like, this is spectacular.
Wow.
And you really need to spend some time here. So, and again, places that, so Carlos has lots of stuff in here, but this is where you will find many unique things. Immigrant women, family violence, and the path out of homelessness. So again, so many angles on the topic.
Yes, I see that. It's great.
So I'm going to stop there now. I think you have lots to go through over the next little while.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's one more thing I'm going to do. I'm sorry. We will go back to the subject guide, and we're going to search for Statistics Canada. That's not what I'm wanting. Here we go. Statistics Canada. So because UBC is a research organization, it has a special agreement with Statistics Canada. So that's another reason to come to Statistics Canada through here.
Okay.
Because of the linkages. So we get more things than the general public would get.
Okay, I see. There are statistics.
Yeah, and so this is the census data and population surveys and those types of things. If you need it before you get to campus, I wanted you to know that it was here. We now have a new data librarian whose name is Matthew V. Dunbar, who will be able to give you very thorough assistance with this. But yes, so we just completed a census earlier this spring. So it's going to be some time before all of that data is released. So the last one that was done was 2016, done every 5 years. Okay. And so the, and they've provided a number of pre-processed reports for you that are very useful. But if we go into the population estimate, gives you all kinds, like super, super, super detailed reports on, and it gives it to you at, again, kind of at the city level and the provincial level. Let's see what the special interests are. But it certainly will give you immigration statistics. It will give you first language statistics, all kinds of stuff. Like it is, and it is extraordinarily reliable and very thorough. So oftentimes Carlos really expects students to be familiar with this and to be immigration, ethnocultural diversity.
Okay.
So there are 131 reports on that.
Wow.
I would spend some time becoming, not that you need to know them in depth, but just by looking at them, it will tell you what their topics are, and that will be helpful to you.
Okay. Great. And housing, I see there are 50 of housing.
Yeah. So you'll have to be putting those two together a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. That's okay. Is that can?
Yeah. And again, I came to it from in the library. So what I would do is I would come here and I would go, that's Canada. Oh, BC Stats. BC Stats is the other one that you will want to look at as well. It's very similar to Statistics Canada. They probably want me to spell this out.
Oh, BC Stats.
Just be aware that they're measurement units. So the way they define a city is a little different from Statistics Canada, because why would they want to make it easy on students? They have their reasons.
Yeah.
So this is the index of the reports, but this is the actual website. So
okay. Oh, wow, it's just excellent. CAN-SIM, Socioeconomic Information Management Database. Oh.
And so these are CAN-SIM and Nestar are like, they are the bigger raw data files. So if the analysis, if the reports that are on Statistics Canada aren't quite what you want, and you want to be able to run a custom report, there's some ability to do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have lots and lots. We have overwhelming amount.
Yes, of course. I'm just so impressed. I'm a bit speechless. It's excellent, just fantastic.
And yes, now you have lots of time to be looking at them and maybe formulating some questions and getting all confused and lost in advance of getting here. That's to be expected, and that's okay. Come see us when you arrive. That would be lovely to say hello to you in person. You're going to be magnificently well. Carlos is a very generous but rigorous supervisor. He makes his students work hard, but you get a very good, thorough education from him. So to support you with whatever you need. So in addition to the library, we have a graduate writing center under the Center for Scholarly Communication. So they can help you with grant applications, with actually formatting your thesis or dissertation, all aspects of the writing. I am going to actually give you the link.
Communication.
I recommend, yes, just they publish lists of their workshops as well as the additional services that they offer there. And again, they just are excellent. So there are lots and lots and lots of academic and other resources available to you. I hope that you feel welcomed and feel that it is quite possible for you to come in and get whatever help you need.
Thank you very much, Marjorie. It has been so enlightening. It has been great.